The Cosmic Peacemakers. There was a moment pause, and Conan Doyle said very well. He rose and strode up and down on the thick Turkish carpet. On my return from South Africa, I was invited to join a highly secret scientific society, the Cosmic Peacemakers. I'd heard rumors about them for some time. Their work lies on the extreme frontiers of science. He paused. They concern themselves with the spiritual side of science, as well as the purely mechanical. They believe with the possible to contact other planets and other worlds. Just the sort of thing the doctor said Doyle would be a sucker for, thought Martha. Out loud, she said, "Sounds fascinating, go on." After I attended several of their meetings, they produced this device. They said it came from far beyond this earth. I was urged to make it known to the highest authorities. They suggested the king himself. "Where are these people based?" asked Carthers. Again Doyle hesitated. "Please," said Martha, "all we need is an address." "They have a laboratory," said Doyle. "It's in the Black Dog Lane, an alley behind the waivers to the east of the London Bridge. It's not easy to find." "How do we get there?" said Carthers. "You reach it by a steep flight of steps between the gin place and the old clothing shop. It's a sordid area, but it gives them the privacy they need." "I bet," murmured Martha. "Thank you," said Carthers. Outside the hotel, Carthers asked, "What now?" Martha said in a strange, hollowed feeling. It was fear. Was the disaster coming? She looked up at Carthers. "What's the matter, Miss Jones?" "I just realized I never got that royal lunch you promised me. I never got any lunch at all. I'm starving." Carthers looked guilty. "My dear young lady," he said, "don't worry. I know the very place." He waved his stick, and his passing hansom cab stopped beside them. "Golden Rose Restaurant, please, cabby." Half an hour later, they were sitting in a quiet booth in the Soho restaurant. There were flowers and the lighted candles on the table. The whole place had a warm, intimate feel. There was a gypsy violinist. Soon Martha and Carthers were tucking into their excellent meals, a steak and chips. Carthers washed it down with a bottle of wine. "You think we should visit the laboratory?" Carthers asked as they ate. "What do you think?" Martha said. "No point in stopping now that we're getting somewhere." "Of course," said Carthers, "but shouldn't you speak with the doctor first?" "And tell him what? A weird name and a dodgy address? We've got nothing worth telling him yet. So what do you suggest? We visit Black Dog Lane, and the laboratory and the Cosmic Peacemakers." Carthers looked worried. "That could be dangerous. I don't think the doctor would approve." "Well, he's not here, is he?" said Martha cheerfully. "Anyways, he loves danger." "You asked him?" She frowned. "I'm sure he's in it up to his neck." The doctor was staring at the scanner screen in the TARDIS control room. It was showing a view of the planet Earth and seen from space. There was a natural enough sense the TARDIS was in the parking orbit around the planet. The doctor needed to trace the plasma coil currents and the final destination. He spent a lot of time estimating their path. Now he was about to see if he was correct. Flexing his long fingers, he reached out and pressed the final control. The image on the screen grew larger and larger until it was showing what looked like a blank space. The energy pulse in the center. The doctor rubbed his hands together. "Still haven't lost my touch. Eat your hearts out, Google Earth." He studied the data following across the bottom of the screen. "There you go. Slap bang in the middle of the empty quarter. 250,000 square miles of Arabian desert. And most deserted place on Earth. But not anymore, it seems." He touched more controls and the screen disappeared and the doctor turned back to the console. "Here we go." He paused. "I wonder why Martha is taking so long to get in touch." "Here you are, ladies and gents," said the cab driver. "Corner of Black Dog Lane. You're on foot from now on. Street's too narrow to take a cab down, even if I wanted to, which I don't. And I don't ask me to wait, because I'm not going to. Not round here." Carthers and Martha got out. Carthers paid the driver and the cab rattled away. Black Dog Lane, as it was more than an alley, really, lived up to the promise of its name. It was dark, dank, and dirty, and very smelly, and possibly visited by a lot of dogs. The scent of a nearby river, muddy water, tar, warehouse full of tea and coal and spices, mixed with far more unpleasant smells from the open sewer that ran down the middle of the street. The lane itself ran between tall, rickety buildings and seemed to lean forward as if to crush it. Yuck, Martha said, summoning it all up. Charming spot, murmured Carthurs. Want to turn back? Certainly not. Come on. They set off down the alley, avoiding the worst of the puddles and trying not to step in anything too unpleasant. The first of their landmarks was a gin place, easy to find. Lights blazed halfway down the gloomy alley. Martha and Carthurs turned to hear loud voices and loud music. As they drew nearer, they saw a number of huddled bodies around the pavement nearby. They stopped and not wanting to get too close. Martha was horrified, but Carthur seemed to take it all in for granted. Typical gin mill drink for turbulence, dead drunks for sixpence. Martha's looked at the shop. They'd stop outside. Gloomy windows held piles of old clothes, and shabby what seemed impossible anyone would buy these. And here's the old clothes shop, she said, so the steps should be a little further on. So they were. They led steeply down to a little area in the wall to the left. Martha could just make out the heavy door with a small light burning above it. Carthurs led the way down the steps, and then they paused outside the door. There was no bell, no knocker, so Carthurs hammered loudly on the door with his fist. But nothing happened. Martha took her heavy walking shoe and used that, banging away at the door as hard as she could. And this did get a result. A hatch opened in the upper part of the door, and a skull-like face looked out. The cold, creaking voice said, "Go away, you drunken fools, or it'll be worse for you." We're here for important business," shouted Martha. "We've come to see Sir Arthur Conan Doyle." "The official government business," shouted Carthurs. "Open in the name of the king." The hatch slammed shut, and Martha thought that was it. But a few moments later the door creaked open, and they both stared in astonishment. The white-haired, white-robed figure with the thin, handsome face stood just inside the doorway, bathed in golden glow. He stood in the voice of meadow sweetness. "Enter, my children. Welcome to the home of the cosmic peacemakers." The figure stepped back, beckoning Martha and Carthurs inside. They went through into the golden glow. The heavy door slammed shut behind them.